Hi buddies, hope you're doing fine. In the video, PGTRB English Syllabus Unit 8 important questions. So, if you are ready, let's get started. First, Aristotle எழுதின poetics அப்படின்ற அந்த டாபிக்ல உள்ள onwards பார்க்கலாம். Aristotle defines tragedy as the imitation of an action that is serious, complete and of a certain magnitude. Second one, according to Aristotle, catharsis means purification of emotions. Then, the unit is primarily derived from which of Aristotle's ideas? Plot construction. Then question from Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy. Who are the four speakers in essay of dramatic poesy? Neander, Lycidius, Cretus, Eugenius. Then Dryden defends which form of drama in essay of dramatic poesy? English drama. Then from Biographia Literaria by S.T. Coleridge. Coleridge defines imagination as the living power and prime agent of all human perception. Which chapter of Biographia Literaria contains Coleridge's theory of imagination? Chapter 13 to chapter 14, especially chapter 14. Then primary and secondary imagination are terms coined by Coleridge. Then questions from T.S. Eliot's The Metaphysical Poets. Eliot praises the metaphysical poets for their unified sensibility. Then Eliot contrasts unified sensibility with dissociation of sensibility. Then questions from I.A. Richards, four kinds of meaning. The four kinds of meaning according to I.A. Richards are sense, feeling, tone and intention. Then I.A. Richards is considered a founder of practical criticism. Then questions from William Emerson, seven types of ambiguity. Emerson's seven types of ambiguity deals mainly with ambiguity in poetry. Emerson's work is an example of close reading. Then from Northrop Fryer, the archetypes of literature. Northrop Fryer's criticism is based on archetypal or myth criticism. Then Fry connects literary archetypes with seasonal myths and rituals. Then according to Fry, the mythos of spring corresponds to comedy. Then questions from Glenn Brooks, irony as a principle of structure. Glenn Brooks was associated with new criticism. Then in irony as a principle of structure, Brooks argues that irony holds the poem's unity together. Then question from Alan Tate, tension and poetry. Tension and poetry, according to Alan Tate, means a balance of literal and metaphorical meaning. Then Alan Tate was a leading figure of new criticism. Then question from Elaine Showalter, Towards a Feminist Poetics. Showalter coined the term gynocriticism. Then, according to Showalter, gynocritics study women's writing as a separate tradition. Then, question from Simon de Beauvoir, The Second Sex. The central idea of the second sex is woman as the other. Then, the famous line, one is not born but rather becomes a woman, is written by Simon de Beauvoir. Then, questions from all the topics. Which critic emphasized the objective correlative? Eliot. Then archetype literally means model or pattern. Then the dissociation of sensibility began after the metaphysical poets. Then practical criticism 1929 was written by I.A. Richards. Then poetry can communicate before it is understood. Who said this? Eliot. Then question from Aristotle, Poetics. According to Aristotle, hamartia refers to a tragic flaw or error in judgment. Then the highest form of tragedy according to Aristotle evokes pity and fear. Then Aristotle places plot above character. Then question from Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy. Who among Dryden's speakers represents Dryden himself? Neander. According to Dryden, rhyme is suitable for heroic tragedy. Then Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy was written in the context of the Great Plague of London, 1665. Then question from Coleridge, Biographia Literaria. Coleridge's theory of imagination was partly a response to Wordsworth's preface to lyrical ballads. Then Coleridge borrowed the concept of imagination from Kant. Then fancy for Coleridge is mechanical. Then question from T.S. Eliot, The Metaphysical Poets. Eliot's essay, The Metaphysical Poets, was published in the year 1921. Then Eliot believed that metaphysical poets combine emotion and intellect. Then question from I.A. Richards, four kinds of meaning. The tone of a poem, according to Richards, refers to the speaker's attitude toward the audience. Then, the method of close textual analysis originates from I.A. Richards. Then question from William Emerson, 7 types of ambiguity. Emerson's approach in 7 types of ambiguity is primarily linguistic and analytic. Then the 7th type of ambiguity according to Emerson occurs when the author's meaning is undecidable. Then question from Northrop Frye, the archetypes of literature. Frye's mythos of winter corresponds to irony and satire. Then Frye's critical theory is heavily influenced by Jung's theory of collective unconscious. Helen Showalter's towards feminist poetics divides feminist criticism into 3 phases. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex was originally written in French. Simone de Beauvoir's philosophy is closely linked to existentialism. Then, who called Aristotle the father of literary criticism? Dryden. According to Aristotle, the most important element of tragedy is plot. Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy is written in the form of a dialogue. Then, Coleridge's secondary imagination dissolves, diffuses, and dissipates in order to create. Then, the phrase dissociation of sensibility was used by Eliot in the Metaphysical Poets. Then, I.A. Richards considered poetry as a psychological activity. Emerson's 7 types of ambiguity belongs to which decade? 1930s. Then, Northrop Frye's theory of archetypes is built upon Jungian psychology. Then, Helen Showalter's feminist framework moves criticism from androcentric to gynocentric. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex questions patriarchal constructions of womanhood. Then, Hamartia, tragic flaw. Neander, Dryden's self-image. Secondary imagination, creative power. Unified sensibility, emotion and thought united. Gynocritics, study of women's writings. Then questions from Aristotle Poetics. Aristotle's concept of mimesis is closer to creative imitation of universal truth. Then the unity of action means one complete and coherent plot. Then Aristotle ranked the elements of tragedy in this order: plot, character, thought, diction, song, spectacle. Then question from Dryden, Essay of Dramatic Poesy. Dryden's Essay of Dramatic Poesy was written during the plague year 1665. Then, according to Dryden, the French drama's chief merit is its adherence to the unities. The ancients are the models but not our masters belongs to Dryden. Then question from Coleridge, Biographia Literaria. Coleridge's imagination reconciles subject and object. For Coleridge, poetry is the best words in the best order. Who influenced this idea? Wordsworth. Fancy is the memory emancipated from the order of time and space, said by Coleridge. Then questions from T.S. Eliot, Metaphysical Poets. A thought to done was an experience. It modified his sensibility, appears in the Metaphysical Poets. Eliot's The Metaphysical Poets was written as a review of a work by Grierson, Herbert J.C. Grierson's Anthology of Metaphysical Poets. Eliot's concept of dissociation of sensibility was caused by the influence of Milton and Dryden. Then question from I.A. Richards, 4 kinds of meaning. Richards' tone and meaning analysis refers to the speaker's attitude toward the listener. Richards' method of practical criticism sought to remove author's name and context. Then questions from William Emerson, 7 types of ambiguity. Emerson's method was first inspired by I.A. Richards' practical criticism. According to Emerson, ambiguity enriches meaning by expanding interpretative possibilities. Then question from Northrop Frye, Archetypes of Literature. Frye's mythos of summer corresponds to romance. Frye's mythos of autumn corresponds to tragedy. According to Frye, criticism should be objective and systematic. Clint Brooks' famous book, The Will Wrought On, elaborates the idea of paradox and irony as unifying forces. Alan Tate's tension equals the balance of denotative and connotative meanings. Then question from Helen Showalter and Simone de Beauvoir. Showalter divides the development of women's writing into 3 phases: feminine, feminist, gynocritical. The term gynocritics was first used in towards a feminist poetics. Simone de Beauvoir's The Second Sex was published in the year 1949. Beauvoir's famous idea, man is the subject, woman is the other, represents existential feminism. That's all. Thank you.